I was young, like 23, and like many others out there, I am a lifestyle and travel content creator. I try to be unique and keep my viewers interested by going to odd places and things that are kind off risky stuff. I made a good living, but I am always hungry for more materials for my videos. That's a fact. I'd always wanted to see Mexico, not the polished beaches of Cancun or the party scenes of Tulum, but the real Mexico, the places where tourists do not want to see or experience. So, I decided this trip will be just me and my camera. I just going to do it. I took a flight, and within few hours I am in Mexico. I rented a car and set off inland, chasing dusty roads, taco stands, and the kind of freedom only found on maps tourists rarely use. Cut long story short, by the third day, I was somewhere south of Monterrey, deep in the Sierra Madre. I'd stopped in a village called San Lucia. It wasn't on my GPS. No signs, no hotels, just adobe homes, a crumbling church, and silence. My GoPro was constantly filming. That's when I saw them. 2 black pickups, tinted windows, men leaning against them in military gear that wasn't military. They watched me. Every move. I smiled, nodded, acted like a clueless gringo. Then I got back in my rental and drove off slowly. Too fast, and I'd look scared. Too slow, and I'd look curious. I didn't know which was worse. About 5 minutes out of town, I realized I was being followed. It was a black SUV. Same kind, same tint. I turned onto a smaller road. So did they. Heart pounding, I kept driving. Trees thickened around me. A black truck overtook me and blocked the road as I rolled in. 2 men stepped out. One had a rifle slung over his chest. The other wore mirrored sunglasses and a tattoo of a snake curling down his neck. "You lost, amigo?" he asked, not smiling. I lied. Said I was heading to a nearby town, just exploring. They nodded like they believed me. Then the guy with the snake tattoo said, "Why don't you come with us?" Quick talk, just to be sure. Before I could say anything, they took my phone, my passport, my keys. One guy drove my rental while they shoved me into the back of their pickup, eyes covered with a bandana. In their pickup, I was cursing myself for being so naive. My heart was drumming. Why was I so stupid? Why did I come here? I just felt so angry with myself. I just did not know what to do. To be honest, I am not religious at all. But at that moment, I just prayed like it was my last ride. I know you guys must be thinking I am stupid. I wouldn't blame you. I don't know how far we went. 20 minutes, maybe less. When they pulled the blindfold off, we were in some kind of ranch house. Empty rooms, dirt floors, no windows. That's where the questions started. Who sent you? Who are you really? Why are you filming? Are you DEA? Where's the tracker? I kept saying I was just a tourist. Showed them my wallet, my credit card, my hotel reservation on the phone they brought in. One guy, bald with scars down both arms, didn't buy it. He looked again at my passport, threw it to the floor, kept looking at my GoPro videos. Then, he beat me once, just once. Enough to make the message clear. I could see the other guy took a rope from the floor. They going to tie me up. As I braced for more pain, possibly torture. Then something happened. A phone rang. The tattooed one picked it up. Spanish I didn't fully understand, but the tone changed. Urgent, confused, angry tone. They argued over phone loud. Something was happening outside. The guy guarding me left too. It seems there was something going on that was more important than me. And the back door. God knows why. Wasn't locked. Maybe they thought I was too broken to move. Maybe someone forgot. Or maybe fate just blinked. Maybe my prayers were answered. I just don't know. I picked up my passport, my cards, and whatever I can. I ran, and ran as hard as I can in no particular direction. Panic rose fast and hot in my throat. I bolted into the brush, crashing through dry grass and branches, like an animal being hunted. I heard voices barking in Spanish in the distance. They were hunting me. For an hour I crawled through the underbrush like a snake. Cuts on my hands, face scratched, mosquitoes biting. And then, voices again. Behind me. They were circling, herding. I'm in their neighborhood now. Sooner or later, they will find me if I don't move. The moment the coast was clear, I broke into a sprint. I dove into a dry riverbed, rolled down and kept running, lungs burning, legs failing. I stumbled into a shack. It's abandoned with roof half caved in. Inside, nothing but rotting wood and an old water jug. I curled under a collapsed shelf and waited, trembling, teeth clenched so hard my jaw ached. Hours passed, or minutes. I couldn't tell, but it was silence. Maybe they gave up. Maybe not. As night fell, I moved again low, slow, and every shadow felt like a threat. I reached a road, found a rusted sign pointing toward Autopista 57. Civilization. North. I followed it until I saw headlights. A battered delivery truck, which I waved frantically while stepping into the road. The driver slowed, a nervous man in his 50s with suspicious eyes. I begged in broken Spanish, Aeropuerto, ayúdame por favor. While waving whatever money I had in my pocket, he let me in. Thank God. The drive was a blur. The driver can't speak any English. But he understood I wanted to go to the airport. I kept checking the side mirrors. Every black car looked like death. When we finally reached the outskirts of a city, Saltillo, I think, I spotted signs for the airport. I thanked the driver with everything I had. Words, handshakes, near tears. At the airport, I ran. First, I went to the toilet, washed my face, tidy myself. I sat on the toilet for 10 minutes calming myself. I did not want the airport security to be suspicious of me. I just did not want to be interrogated again. I did not want to deal with Mexican police either. I bought a long-sleeve shirt to hide all the fresh wound in my arms. The scratches on my face, I can't do anything. I threw my card at the first ticketing desk I saw and calmly asked, "Any flight, now, anywhere out." The clerk, startled, handed me a boarding pass for a flight to Houston, leaving in 3 hours, but requires a transit. I agreed. No checked luggage, no questions. Security was a blur. I kept expecting a hand on my shoulder, a voice behind me in Spanish, El Alto. But none came. Once I checked in, I began to calm down. I relaxed a little. When the wheels left the tarmac, I cried. Quietly, but I cried. I never told anyone the full story. Not customs, not the airline, not even my family. But that night, as the lights of Mexico disappeared behind me, I felt so relieved. Once arrived after a day or two, I did make the necessary report with the authorities, just to be safe. We'd been planning the trip for months. Just 3 of us. Me, Kalian, and Tom. Guys in our early 20s with a shared addiction to dirt biking and a mutual distrust of anything resembling a normal weekend. South New Mexico was our target, not the touristy part. The wild, raw desert. A place where the sun cooked your skin and the wind felt like sandpaper. It was early November, and the weather couldn't have been better. Not too hot, just that dry, golden kind of warmth that makes you feel alive. We'd been riding for 3 hours, straight through the rugged, jagged trails of xeric shrublands. Cactus, dry brush, sharp rocks, the dust. Bikes were purring, engines humming, like we were flying over the earth. It was freedom on 2 wheels. By around 6 p.m., we arrived on this old, cracked road. Barely a road, more like a forgotten line of asphalt snaking along a ridge, running north to south. From up there, the view was insane. The western sky was already bleeding orange and purple, the kind of sunset you don't just see, you feel. We parked our bikes on the west side of the ridge, behind some rocks, and we were ready to soak it in. The beautiful sunset. Callian pulled out his phone for a photo. Tom broke out the jerky, some bread, and I just lay back on a flat rock, letting it all wash over me. Desert silence is a strange kind of loud. It hums, crackles, buzzes with a tension you don't notice at first. Callian started a small fire, 'cause the night will be chilly. Then we heard it. An engine. Big, throaty, and definitely not a dirt bike. A truck, some heavy-duty off-road beast, crested the ridge road, then slowly rumbled down the eastern slope. Its headlights disappeared over the edge, and the engine idled before cutting out. We froze, glancing at each other. Probably hunters. But hunters don't usually show up in blacked-out trucks after sundown in the middle of nowhere. Callian did one thing. He killed the fire. I don't know what he was thinking, but he just did it. Like he had a sixth sense. While we were still in a baffled mode, more headlights in a distance. Another truck. This one louder, older, clunkier. It parked near the first one. We crept to the ridge's crest, staying low behind rocks and brush. Callian raised his head first, just enough to peek over. "What did you saw?" I asked him. "They're doing some kind of deal. Bags being exchanged, like duffel bags." "They're trading something, bro," Callian whispered. "Maybe they are cartels, mafias. Either one, we are at wrong place, at wrong time." We all just sat there for a moment, adrenaline starting to buzz in our veins. My stomach twisted. 3 dumb dudes on dirt bikes? We were witnesses. And in the middle of nowhere, that wasn't a good thing. "They didn't see you, right?" I asked. "I don't think so, bro. If they did, we would have been toast by now. Honestly, guys, be prepared to make a run for our bikes." As we were whispering to each other, then, snap, a twig, crunch of gravel. We dropped flat. A man climbed up the ridge from the east. Just one. He wasn't charging or sneaking, more like wandering. His silhouette grew bigger against the sky until he was just a few yards from us. He unzipped his fly. He was taking a leak, right there, facing away, thank God. But then, something rustled in the brush, a desert fox or maybe a javelana, and he turned toward it, distracted. Didn't see us. He zipped up and walked back down, casual as ever. But 10 minutes later, one of the trucks roared to life again, and this time, it drove up the ridge. By then, we have slowly moved back to the west side of the ridge, behind a boulder. Hearts hammering. The truck slowly rolled over the crest, a spotlight sweeping across the landscape. It passed over our position once, then again, paused. We stayed still for what felt like hours, though it was probably only 20 minutes. Eventually, both trucks drove off, engines growling into the dark, their red taillights fading like embers into blackness. We let out this collective breath of relief. Tom actually laughed. Like I said, Callion is the one who has like a sixth sense. He cautioned us. They were too interested in this side of the ridge. That guy didn't just wander up. He was checking. Maybe he smelled the smoke earlier, or saw the fire from distance. You think they knew we were here? Tom asked. Maybe not for sure, but they're not taking chances. So we kept quiet while looking around continuously. 15 minutes later, movement near the ridgeline confirmed our worst fear. 3 figures, silhouettes against the stars. They laid down. We could not see any weapons with them in the dark, but we were 100% confident those guys are lethal. They were watching. They were spotters. We didn't move, not even to breathe too loudly. For a full 30 minutes, we stayed low, our bodies pressed to the cold rock, hearts pounding. Then, another engine. One of the trucks returned. This time it didn't stop on the east side. It went straight to the ridge, picked up the 3 men, and left again. Gone. But we didn't believe it. Not at first. We waited, eyes darting around, expecting a shadow to shift, a branch to snap. Nothing. We laid there until the first blush of dawn hit the desert floor. Then we moved, just got on our bikes and rode like hell. The desert was still beautiful, still wild, but now it felt haunted. We didn't stop until we hit a gas station many miles north. At the gas station, we had something to eat. Actually laughed out the ordeal. We had a close call,